How do you give hope to this world, especially to this generation? Where do they get hope? And how can you provide hope? Because I'm sure it's hopelessness and helplessness that causes one to commit suicide. So I just want to know, for those who are religious, I don't know how you can give them hope. And even the people who do not know God, how can you give them hope so that they don't fall into suicide or this mental health problem? Thank you.
Wow, yeah, what a tragedy. I'm so sorry about that. And it is a multi-stakeholder affair, because if we leave it just to the clergy to handle this, obviously we will fail and we will be overwhelmed. The ratio of clergy to non-clergy to lay people is too big. But if clergy understand their role as empowering families, empowering teachers, empowering all stakeholders, empowering influencers, it's become a thing now, empowering influencers to be a voice of hope, then I think we will get somewhere. If I am to summarize what I see as really the root issue, is that we as a people are very, very distracted. We are very distracted. And there are very many reasons why I feel we're distracted, but people are chasing after the money. We're chasing after the African, there's an American dream, but there's also a Kenyan dream. I don't know if you've heard of the Kenyan dream. The Kenyan dream is one wife, 2 children, 3-bedroom house, 4-wheel drive car, and 5 acres of land. We are so busy chasing after the Kenyan dream that we are distracted. Parents are distracted. Teachers are distracted. We are on our phones. We are on our laptops, even at home. We are working from home, so we're not paying attention. Everything children want, we give them. When children go off to boarding schools, whether high school or university, we are happy. We are happy they are gone, so we can do our thing, we can do our parties, we can hang out with our friends. And so as parents, we are very distracted. As a community, we are very distracted and self-absorbed. We are hardly paying attention. And the more I talk to younger people, because I'm dealing with students, the more I talk to students, the more I feel how lonely they feel. How lonely they feel. They feel that their parents are not paying attention. They know. They don't just feel it is justified. They feel, they can tell that parents they're doing their minimum. Pay school fees, do the minimal, and just be done. Give the money, provide. Are you healthy? Do you have everything you need? Bye. Do your thing. We are very distracted as a people. So unless we have more attention to things like this, the same way that we give pause to specific topics and call interdisciplinary engagements like this on matters like this, is the same way that until such rates, God forbid, become such a pandemic for us to the point that we're like, wait a minute, we have to all stop and talk about this. I pray we never have to get there, but it looks like that's the only way that we get, that will get our attention, that when that thing will get our attention. Right now, maybe we just feel it's sporadic. Many people don't know, unless you work in a university, unless you work with young people like that, many people don't know how severe this is. And moving on with their lives, and you can see, go on social media. Life is happy. Life is just funny. People just throwing jokes left, right, center, and dancing, and drinking alcohol, and doing whatever they want. And this is not coming out on social media as a serious issue. We're so distracted. We're out here partying, throwing things, hashtags, and we're all grown-ups. And these are people in their 30s and 40s throwing shade on social media, and their children are watching. What do we expect? They'll pick that up, get hopeless. Here we are, and we know that the majority of how people are making their money in this country is illegal. It is through bribery and corruption. But we look the other way. We are normalizing it. We know why people are on the streets. They're not there to inspect our vehicles. They're there to do their thing. As a Kenyan people, we know why these people are there very early in the morning until late in the evening. But we have normalized it. We just laugh about it. We throw jokes about it. What do you think our children are thinking? They grow up looking at this. They make observations and they say, this is terrible. This is broken. Our parents are hopeless about it. They have made peace with it. The way to make it in this life, the way to make it in this country is to be corrupt. They try to be corrupt. They try to do what we are doing. They can't do it enough. Or, we just need re-engineering as a society. And until the day we say, wait a minute, let's look on the inside together and let's talk seriously about how to rescue our generations, it's just going to get worse, unfortunately. So we all have to stop being distracted with all of this nonsense and say, we are losing our society. In the next 30 years, if we don't stop and talk about these things seriously, we are losing a whole generation of young people. And until such a day arrives, unfortunately, it's just going to be the trend until, as a people, this hurts enough for us to say, stop, let's talk about it. Yeah.
Thank you. Before it takes away, there's someone raising hands.
Please.
Question time later.
Yes, we'll have another
Yes.
time. We'll have another time. We just took that, had that time because of some of technical issues. Otherwise, we'd like to connect with Nyamat. Is it's okay. Take it off. Okay. Okay. Okay, now you want us to continue the QA? Can you hear me? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think there's some questions that. Can I continue? Yeah, okay, thank you. Now, I think we had some questions which we left behind. Collins, I think you can help me. The lady can, Mama there can ask a question.
So we had the one with the yellow, then we'll come to Madam here.
Thank you. Mine was not even a question, mine was a recommendation, but unfortunately the pastor has left. What we've realized is that broken people also break others. So in this same way that these people are coming to a broken person, that broken person cannot be able to help them. So for me, I'd recommend all leaders, me included, counseling is a must, because there's so much that we are going through. There's so much that people are bringing to us, and still you have your own issues. You have your own issues with your children, with your wife, with parents, with your neighbors, and running even a big organization. One person cannot be able to help 1,000 people. So my recommendation is that counseling should be a must.
Thank you. That's a good observation.
Yeah.
The need for awareness about counseling
Dr. Nika.
and the services also, it's very key.
Thank you. I'm not asking a question, but I would just like to add some point for the advocate, as you are here with Serekali, and you play a key role in conventions and summit like this one, because you pick certain issues that you work on. As much as the pastor has left and you are also a pastor, we need to take cognizance that people grow. In all professions, people are growing. In fact, today we have CBC because we are realizing that there's a problem with our education system, and there's need to take cognizance of each and every aspect of education and learning that someone is doing, but only try to package it within a curriculum system that what they are doing can be recognized. Today, Kenya has grown again, that certification has evolved. Even the artisans, which our late President Moi brought in place and had put a Juakali sector and carpenters and all that, they have grown, and today Certification Authority has recognized them. And they are being encouraged. What used to be trade 1, trade 2, trade what, they are growing and they are being recognized, and as far as their practices is concerned. So I would like to throw caution that you realize the growth of people, and the very clergy, the very professional bodies, they know themselves. And it is them to sit down, use their committees and their bodies to recognize at what category can people be recognized in what they are doing. Everybody is sick, and everybody. Actually, you wonder whether anybody who is walking is normal. As I was just coming, there was a young man on the road. The road is being constructed. And you know, at the place of construction, even if anything happens to you, it's your own responsibility. Nobody pays. So the young man is well dressed, and the lorry is behind him. And instead of leaving the place that is on the road, and you can see someone who is educated and with a bag, he's there. The lorry is turning with all the, what do you call it, with all the mchangas, the stones, And instead of running away, he just looks back and check, like what is it? Are we normal? I want to take cognizance of the government people who are here, that as you evolve those things, that's a great area of mental health that we are discussing, that you give categories of people. She's mentioning counseling, and we are trying to come up with a board. And people have come from down there. And you remember that from beginning, there wasn't even that cognizance. We know anybody can do it. But today we have professionalism. So don't throw the babies. Realize and recognize them and give them where they can work. The preachers, and some even get into the buses. Don't they tell you what is good? Don't they appeal to you even with their madness? Don't you listen? Don't you like them? But then, are they mad or are they well? Where do you categorize them? So let us not use that. Of course, today, the population of those who are learned is increasing. Today, everybody who wants to be at the podium must have had masters, must have had PhD, must have gone to school, must. What about those who are talented? Are there people who are talented and we are talking about CBC? Where do you put them? I hope I have been heard so that we all embrace, because otherwise, these people have families and it will be very hard. So we must just have a regulatory body that is streamlining and working with everybody in their profession, then everybody will be happy. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Maybe one more question, yeah.
From this end, we have one.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's not really a question. I'd like to, first of all, appreciate the speakers who have spoken this morning. I'd like to touch on a little bit on the speakers who have spoken on religion and culture. We all know that we don't really get to choose the communities we are born in.
Excuse me. Just a little bit. Tasmin, there's a question here on culture. So kindly listen. Yeah? Tasmin, are you there? Yeah, I'm there. Okay. There's a question here on culture, so I think you can also tackle it. Okay?
It's not a question, Jimmy. I'm
Okay.
just commenting.
Can continue.
So I was saying, we don't really get to choose where we are born. And also, when it comes to the religions we ascribe to, from an early age, we are guided. We are shaped in terms of culture, or we are socialized by where we find ourselves. Now, on the issue of religion, we have seen that so many people, actually all of us, subscribe to something, or we believe in and are guided in a particular way, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or whichever religion you ascribe to. And I look at the society having different levels depending on economic and academic levels achieved in a particular community in the society. And when you look at that, I'll refer to one psychologist, Alfred Adler, when he was speaking on issues of religion. And he said human beings strive to achieve perfection because the deity they look at is perfect, whom we call God. And everyone strives for perfection. And in the society, we are given leaders who we look at to guide us in the religious path. And we look at them as being more closer to this deity who is perfect than us. And when we look at the levels of now the society, economic and academic, you will see that where there is a a lot of poverty levels and low academic levels. Those people are most vulnerable and most likely to be misguided by these leaders who we look at to guide us to be closer to this deity whom we strive to be like, and we are saying he's perfect. And it's very important what everyone has said, that the religious leaders and the law should look so much deeply into making sure that these religious people, because they are very influential people in the community, even community leaders, where we have very harmful cultural practices. When you look at the economic levels in those communities and academic levels, those communities are very vulnerable, and you'd almost say that they are being taken advantage of for lack of knowledge and exposure. So something needs really to be done from the law enforcers and from the people who bear responsibility, the leaders, to make sure these people are checked, the religious leaders, because they are shaping our society and they are compounding the mental health issues that we are talking about. People go to church because they feel or they seek religious help. One of the reasons, and the major one, being the feeling of being vulnerable, of lack of something, or hoping that they will get help on the issues that they feel they have that pertain their lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It was not actually a question, it was a comment. So, and yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much, Tasnim. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes. Allow me. I know we are rushing and we are really thick with time right now. Can you all stand a little bit, please? Sorry. Just stretch yourself a little bit. Yes, we'll have some questions just in a while, and just stand up a little bit, just stretch a little bit, okay? Just stretch a little bit as. For now, we are not going to ride a coconut. We are going to ride a bicycle, okay? I want us to ride a bicycle now. So this is how we are going to ride our bicycle. Okay, thank you so much. Now, before we have our lunch break, I would like to call one of our partners to come and say something for this. And I would like to introduce this lady. She's a wonderful lady and she's a wonderful woman. Okay? She's also an advocate. Today, we are privileged to have lawyers in our midst and they are wamewakilisha ile vilivyo. Sasa hapa hivi they are playing with legal policies and legal matters. Hapa hivi auruki sawa sawa. So Pauline is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya with 8 years post-admission experience. She's the advocacy manager at the SOS Children's Village, Kenya. She has technical expertise in lobbying and advocacy, legal and policy, influencing reforms processes at global, regional, and national levels. She has contributed to the development and review of various laws and policies affecting children, and is a member of various government-led technical working groups. As a member of the National Steering Committee on Children's Act, she has championed for the enactment of the Children's Act 2022 that was enacted by the former president in July this year, and it is currently in force. She also possesses experience in human rights, gender equality, government and socio-economic development at national, subnational, regional, global levels, and has contributed to gender and child rights programming work, community dialogues, and addressing their rights. She has undertaken project, program, management, monitoring and evaluation of advocacy programs, strategic partnership building, collaboration, partnership, development, and networking building. Her passion is fueled by the vision that all children can thrive in a society free from all forms of violence and abuse. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome Pauline for her presentation. Round of applause, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm very humbled to stand before all of you, and especially because of the issues we are discussing today. In the spirit of what everyone has talked about, and without going into the details of just trying to repeat what everyone has talked about, I'm happy to present that we are a child-focused organization, SOS Children's Villages Kenya, and we run a number of programs that focus on the rights and welfare of children who are at risk of losing parental care and those who have lost parental care. So basically, our being here is to ensure that we promote and we also advocate for children and youth in and out of care. So basically, these are children who are taken care of outside of their biological form of care, children who do not have parents, and therefore there are alternatives of ensuring that they continue to enjoy their rights and also access their basic needs. So in summary, these are our programs on what we do. We run programs on education and health programming, and we are present in 5 counties. That's Mombasa, Nairobi, Kisumu, Uasin Gishu, as well as Meru. So we have education programs and health, as I mentioned. We also have alternative care, and this is where we have children at risk who have lost parental care and those at risk. And they are taken care of in our family-like program, what we call the SOS Children's Villages. We also have the family strengthening programs in the same counties I've talked about. And we work to ensure that we promote children, their families, and also support the community-based structures to promote and advocate for the rights of children. So we also work in collaboration with the government of Kenya, different departments, agencies, as well as organizations like yourselves in this agenda. Then the other area is on youth programming and also on advocacy. For advocacy, our key role or our main goal is to ensure that we have policies that are friendly for children and youth in care. And to that extent, we've promoted the development and review of various laws and policies that affect children and youth. Key among them is the Children's Act of 2022 that was recently assented to by the President. And the reason why we are here today is to, number one, appreciate on the issues related to mental health and mental health programming in our country. The Children's Act of 2022 actually recognizes, and this is stemmed from the Constitution of Kenya, enforcing Article 43 that talks about economic and social rights for every Kenyan individual. So the Children's Act recognizes the right to mental health, the access to information for children in age-appropriate language and format that children can access. It also recognizes that the role that the parents and societies take in ensuring that children are able to access their mental health, either as a service or the programs that the government is going to come up with. Now, since morning we've been talking about challenges. Every speaker who has come here has talked about different challenges that people in society are experiencing when it comes to mental health issues. As stated in this room, where are the children and where are the youth who experience this challenge? Who is speaking for these children and youth? Who is speaking on their behalf on the challenges they experience? So we've had issues related to from the economic, the social, the political, the religious, and how they affect the different communities in the society. My senior presented about the policy framework, and one of the frameworks, the mental health strategy of 2015 to 2030, recognizes the vulnerable groups in the society. Children and adolescents are one of the vulnerable groups recognized in the mental health strategy. And the strategy further goes ahead to mention that as a government or as a society, we need to come up with programs that will respond to some of these issues. So in the spirit of the same, some of the issues that we've identified in working with children and youth in care include the following, but they are not limited to this. There are issues related to the social networks where, for example, the youth are not able to interact or mingle well because of, the challenges and the way society is changing. So access to services, lack of employment, increased HIV and mental health issues, lack of representation on decision-making matters. So we are talking about policies, and I remember the lady, professor, if I'm not wrong, she's given us a challenge, and she said, we are talking about the laws. But even as we are looking at reviewing the laws, when we are looking at implementing the laws, the beneficiaries of those laws are supposed to be at the center of them, either in terms of ensuring their voices are heard when we come up with these laws, but also when we come up with interventions for the implementation of the laws, they're also part and parcel of that. So the decision-making agenda. Then the third thing is limited policies and programs specifically targeting them. And here we are talking about lack of awareness, community acceptability, stigma, and limited or no social protection and safety nets. So we are seated here talking about this. And my hope is the policy discussion will not end here. We need to ensure that there are programs that we come up with in the community together with the beneficiaries that target the people that we are trying to advocate for. So how do we take this conversation side of this and get into the communities and come up with campaigns involving children, youth, on all issues that affect them? So we also need to think about that. The other shortcoming is on transition, especially for children and youth, transitioning from childhood to adulthood, physical transition as well into the community. How have we factored this for our children and the youth in terms of access to services, the social protection networks, the social welfare programs, amongst other things? And then there's poor coordination between departments that place children in alternative care options. So here we are talking about coordination, not partners, but also with the government. And I'm very happy that we have representatives from the government who are also seated here with us. So how do we enhance coordination? When it comes to children and youth issues, we have children services whose main role is to ensure that we have child-friendly programs in the community. Where is the Ministry of Health? Where is the ministry responsible for youth matters? Where is the Ministry of Finance responsible for allocation of those resources when it comes to of children and youth? So basically the challenge here is, as we are seated here, each and every one of us has a role to play in ensuring that children and youth, when it comes to mental health issues, everybody plays a key role in that. Now for SOS Children's Villages Kenya, we are implementing Leave No Youth Behind program. This is a program that is funded by the Danish ministry, that is Danida, in collaboration with ourselves and other partners in Kenya, Somalia, and Ethiopia. In implementing this program, the main aim is to ensure that we advocate for inclusivity of youth. And these are youth aged between 15 to 30 years, and they've either lived in or are living in care. And I said, for this kind of children, they are children who are taken care of outside of their biological family. So we want to ensure that they are included, number one, in policy and legal frameworks, but they are also included in the programs that the government is going to come up with in relation to the issues that affect them. And then number two is to provide the government with visibility of the children existing in alternative care to form its planning, programming, resource allocation, and decision making. So the issue of inclusivity, you cannot talk about inclusivity if you're not raising the profile of the issues affecting these children. I walked in when the lady from Total Africa was just talking about what they do. And we also acknowledge that and promote the same kind of things, but it's only that sometimes for these children who are not taken care of in their biological setup, you find that in some cases nobody talks about them. Nobody thinks about the issues that affect them at a personal level, but even when they get into society. And this is where the mental health issues, illnesses, and challenges usually come in. So in the spirit of implementing this program, we also want to work with the government to ensure that these children in alternative care, their issues are taken up at the policy level in our government budgets, but also to ensure decisions when it comes to programming. So how will we ensure this? Number one, we want to work to ensure that there's an enabling environment for young people who are living care. And as I've mentioned, we are talking about the social protection programs and policies. Our constitution recognizes economic and social rights, as I initially mentioned, under Article 43. Access to health of the highest attainable standards is one of those recognitions in our constitution. And this actually includes mental health care for all the citizens. When you read that, it means that children would also be able to access the highest attainable access to mental health care within the society. And then number two, we also want to empower our young caregivers to ensure that they claim their rights. And that is why I started by asking the question. As we are seated here and we are talking about the vulnerable groups in the society, where are the vulnerable groups? Where is there space for them to come and speak about the issues that affect them? Where are the youth? I could be a representative of the youth, but I might not be affected to the extent that that youth in care would be affected based on the different issues. So we also need to empower the vulnerable groups so that they are able to speak for themselves, and we also take up those issues and put them as a national agenda moving forward. So what results do we want to see? We have three results. Number one is on the policies and the laws that support young caregivers and to ensure that these policies are in place. The mental health strategy talks about the vulnerable groups, and that includes the children and adolescents. We also have policies such as the national policy on psychosocial support for orphans and vulnerable children. I've mentioned the Children's Act. But much as we have the policies, we also have to unpack the policies and ensure that they are being implemented so that the society is thriving for the children and the youth. And for these policies to be implemented, number one, we need the resources, the financial resources. We need to have the skills, the capacity, the knowledge, and understand how best we can promote the rights. A responsive social protection society would include one that talks about the social issues, economic issues, the religious issues we've been talking about, environmental factors, over and above the policies. So to ensure that, one, they're able to access the services that the government is coming up with, and in a way that would not be discriminatory against them. And then thirdly is that young caregivers actively participate and they are also able to claim their rights. So here we are also promoting the voices of children and youth in alternative care, and ensuring that they also speak for themselves as not in isolation, but in collaboration with different partners from the national level to the county level. In so doing, we appreciate the role that the government has, especially when it comes to children and youth in alternative care. We appreciate that there are policies in place and there are programs, but so much more can be done in terms of addressing the gaps or the challenges that each and every speaker has talked about. We also appreciate the role of the academia, the role of the media. We appreciate the role that the private sector will also bring to enhance and also ensure that we put the agenda of youth and children in care options. So thank you very much. If there are any questions, I can take them. Call is to ensure that much as we talk about the mental health and psychosocial issues, we look at this from a holistic perspective. Because from the morning we have learned that mental health affects us as a holistic being. In your workplace, in your family, in the religious institutions, the story of the, let us look at this as something that is holistic for us and not just in isolation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. A round of applause for him again. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pauline. The only thing that you did not tell us is that SOS, what does it stand for? Because people know SOS stands for saving our souls. And I understand it is not that. So can you kindly come and tell us SOS, the meaning of SOS?
I think the saving our souls can only be done by a higher being. So we do not take that role in society. SOS is a German term. It means social societies. So we are formed and established in a social society, and we put social programs for the welfare and well-being of children and youth. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, so at least now we know. We know what SOS means. You know, people always say that this is saving our souls. It means something else. Sawa. So, I would like us to break for lunch. Nyamat, if you are listening to me, please, if maybe you have some. Yes, we want to break for lunch, but if you have some questions, if your people have some questions, you can put them on parking so that when we come from lunch, we can be able to answer some questions on your side. Yeah? Okay. Yes, half an hour is okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, who is going to pray for the food? Mama, you pray, bless the food for us.
Let's pray for the food. Father, in the name of Jesus, we want to thank you this afternoon, Lord. We give you glory, we give you honor for the way you've had a very fantastic presentation from the morning up to this time, Lord. In fact, we are very grateful for your presence. Father, even now as we go to share a meal, we want to pray that you bless it, you sanctify it as we partake of it, so that it may be useful to our bodies and so that we can also be able to come here on time to continue the afternoon session. We thank you and bless you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Yes? Okay. The lunch is served at the restaurant. And make sure you have your coupon. Yes? Make sure you have your coupon. Thank you. The coupons are here. Just ukitoka hivi tu hapo tu, you will have the coupon.
We are needed for lunch. Yeah, let's go.